This lecture is neither a memoir nor an analytical examination of my music. No, it is meant only to offer up a first-hand, first-person account of one composer's development during the second half of the 20th century. From the top. I was born in Brooklyn, New York on April 18, 1954, 31 days before Charles Ives died across the East River in Manhattan on May 19th. I spent the first 2 years of my life in the Madison section of Brooklyn, living in an apartment at 2020 Kings Highway. In 1956, my parents escaped New York and their parents by moving to the South Jersey burbs, first to Haddonfield, and then in 1959 to Levittown, now known as Willingboro, exit 5 off the New Jersey Turnpike. And that's where I grew up. Outwardly, my suburban upbringing was a microcosm of the late 1950s and 1960s. We, my brothers and I, watched way too much television. We grew up in a house filled with cigarette smoke, ate fully sugared cereal, and drank teeth-rotting soda. We played football and baseball and shot hoops. We rode our bikes everywhere. Our milk was delivered to us twice a week, and our telephone number was alphanumeric, TR as in triangle 74779. There was zero tolerance in Dr. Greenberg's lower middle-class neighborhood for anything that might have been perceived as elitist crap. Yes, I played Beethoven piano sonatas in elementary school assemblies and was respected for it. But had I been a jerk about it, I would have been hit frequently. But I wasn't hit because I knew instinctively that Beethoven, for example, was for all of us. For me, for my brothers, my friends, for all of us. To this day, I've retained a disdain for those who believe that their love of concert music elevates them above the rabble. Grandmothers and father. I came from a performing arts background. My maternal grandmother was a Broadway and movie actress named Nancy R. Pollock. Born in Brooklyn, as were 3 of my grandparents, my father's father was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey, exit 13. She was a Jewish intellectual, blacklisted pinko rabble-rouser who during her career starred with some biggies, from Mae West to Edward G. Robinson, Rod Steiger to, yes, William Shatner. As vice president of Actors Equity, she knew everybody. Weekends with her in New York City, she and my grandfather lived in the Upper West Side at 82nd and Riverside Drive, were heaven. Museums, concerts, theater, delicatessens, and people stopping her on the street for her autograph. My paternal grandmother, Bessie Hurwitz Greenberg, graduated from the New York Institute of Musical Art with a bachelor's degree in piano in 1916. In 1924, the Institute became the Juilliard School. Her diploma, which hangs in my studio, bears the signature of the school's founder and president, Frank Damrosch, who was Franz Liszt's godson. My grandmother was a wonderful pianist who, as a teacher, tortured generations of piano students in Queens, New York, where she lived with my grandfather. She was my first piano teacher, and she notated my first efforts at writing music when I was 5 and 6 years old. As a piano teacher, my grandmother's greatest hopes were that her son, my father, would take his place among the pantheon of great pianists. To that end, he was subjected to the sort of tiger mommy practice discipline that should make all of us cringe. Never mind being a kid and going outside to play. Play? Play Chopin. That's playing. My father rebelled and walked away from the piano. Then World War II and military service in the South Pacific intervened. But when he came home, my father took up the piano again. I grew up listening to him play most evenings, in particular to what is now referred to as the Great American Songbook, the music of George Gershwin, Irving Berlin, Jerome Kern, Richard Rodgers, and their various Tin Pan Alley colleagues, music that became part of my essential birthright.